Hey guys, what's up? It's Dark Mick here and welcome back to another Mythic Plus guide. Today we're covering off Sanguine depths. So the footage I'm going to show you today is fairly old. It's about 7 weeks old, nearly 8 weeks old now. And that just shows that I recorded this with the intention of doing it 8 weeks ago. And here we are. Now these guides are aimed at newer tanks moving into that plus 10 bracket, getting comfortable with Prideful and moving towards your Keystone Master. The idea behind these routes that I'm showing you and these VODs and these MDTs is to get you comfortable under the expectation of what to pull, what people will be expecting you to pull, getting you comfortable with the route so then you can go in and execute it. The reason I brought up that this is like 7 weeks ago is if you're looking at some of the damage or HP and things like that in it and thinking what's going on, that's what's going on. It's old. We also didn't know a lot about the dungeon when we did this. So a lot of the things I'm going to be telling you to do, we didn't do. I'm also going to show you 2 routes. I'm going to show you this one as we go through it. And then I'm going to show you another one at the end of the dungeon that has an invis skip in it. It is a much better route for Pridefuls. I just don't have any recorded footage of us doing it. But it is a much better route for Pridefuls, especially in a tyrannical setting. It does involve an invis skip though, so the route I'm going to show you is really general purpose, works well on Fort, works well on Tyrant on lower keys as well, and most importantly works well in a pug setting. So let's get straight into it, guys, and I'm going to try and get through this as quick as I can. I know with the new format going between MDT and the VODs, it's pretty long, so we'll try and knuckle through this as quick as we can. Key starts, we're coming out, we're going to do this double pull here, okay? So we're going to get 4 ticks, 3 skirmishes, and 1 hunt master. Hunt master's probably the most notable mob in here. It'll drop these traps. The traps are red. Sometimes the red traps go on the red carpet and can be really hard to see. If you step into a red trap, it will murder you. The skirmishes are going to have this animate weapon. You can't kick it, but you can stun it. With the animate weapons, try and stun them. If the animate weapons go off, they do deal a fair bit of damage. I think they got nerfed from their original form, but they do deal a fair bit of damage when they go off, and it's just an extra source of damage coming in. Try and stun them if you can to avoid that going off. The ticks don't really do much special. They'll do a thrash and things like that. You don't have to worry about them. They'll die fairly quickly. So that's our first double pull. We're then going to move up into this triple pull here, or this pull of 3, sorry, not a triple pull, where you've got 2 hunt masters. So again, with the hunt masters watching traps, red carpet, you've got 2 sources of traps now. And the most important mob in here, the Regal Mist Dancer. Now the Mist Dancer has an ability called Echoing Thrust. And Echoing Thrust is the most important thing for you to worry about as the tank. The reason being is that Echoing Thrust is a frontal cone that gets aimed at your position. Once it gets aimed, it doesn't follow you. So you can simply just sidestep out of the ability. However, it differs from normal frontals in that each subsequent echoing thrust that comes after it, its position is recorded and it triggers an echo of that frontal. So what you want to try and do, and I'll show you this on the video and it'll probably make much more sense, is you want to try and aim these into the wall and you want to try and overlap as many as you can. So when the echoing thrust goes off, you move off to the side and then you return to your original position. When the next echoing thrust goes off, you move over to the side again, and what you will do is you'll have layered 2 echoing thrusts on top of each other, which means that you're not spraying them all over the place for your group to deal with. On storming in Sanguine depths, it gets really iffy, and if you die as well and the mob starts running back down the hall, you're going to have echoing thrusts going off everywhere as well, which can be a real burden for your group. So once that pull's dead, we're moving up to this next one. We're going to grab this brute here and this tick. The tick's nothing really to worry about. The brute is going to do a slam, which deals a bit of damage. It's also going to do an umbral crash. He'll select a player. He'll leap over to their location. There'll be a blue swirl on the ground. It deals splash damage. Just don't be near the slam. Then we're just going to hug the wall and we're going to move up the inside here. And then we're going to pull this group of 5 here. So we've got 2 ticks from the start, and we've got some different ticks as well, these gluttonous ticks. They'll do this engorge. You want to kick as many of the engorges as you can. If the engorges get off, they get stacks of engorge on them. When they die, they explode. The more stacks of engorge on them, the bigger the explosion. We're then going to go into this brute surrounded by these gluttonous ticks here. We're going to kill these. You shouldn't have too many issues with these. Kill the brute. I think if you kill all these ticks and the brute still up, you will trigger your 20% prideful. So really be focusing into the brute. Finish this pack off, you'll get your first Prideful, and you'll be going into the first boss, Kyrax here, the Voracious. Big thing with Kyrax, with Kyraxis, or whatever his name is, big deal with the first boss is how your group handles Severing Smash, okay? So at 100 energy, he's going to do this massive shockwave. It's going to deal shadow damage and knock people back. And on that knockback, they're going to leave behind this Living Essence little round power ball thing, okay? That ball's going to move back towards the boss. If the ball reaches the boss, he heals for 12%. If you intercept a ball, you get shadow damage, and it deals shadow damage to your entire group as well. So running through like a madman and collecting all the orbs will most likely explode your group unless people are immuning them. So dealing with that is really important, and I'll talk about that when we do the VOD. He'll also do this Juggernaut Rush. He'll target someone and he will rush to them. That Juggernaut Rush damage is reduced by players hit in the wake of that, or in the path of that, so you just want to all stack up so he moves through everyone to the target on the Juggernaut Rush. You can also go out and immune soak this by yourself so no one has to soak it. He'll do a Hungering Drain. You just need to make sure that you kick this ASAP. And as the tank, just be concerned about the Vicious Headbutt. You can parry this, but it is a knockback. Don't be near the edge with your back facing to it when Vicious Headbutt is going off. You will get knocked off the edge. So that's the first section, guys. So let's go to the VOD and let's check this out. So remember, don't judge too hard, all right? This is nearly 2 months ago, okay? We were but children of summer. So first pull here, 2 ticks, and the Skirmisher, going to drag it all the way up into this Huntsman double Skirmisher. So remember, the Huntsmans, they put traps on the red carpet. The traps deal a lot of damage. Here comes those animate weapons. So remember, you can't kick them, but you can stun them. So here's the animate weapon cast. You want to be stunning these, okay? So asphyxiates, leg sweeps, blinding lights, shockwaves, sigil of misery to interrupt the cast. Whatever you can do, you want to be doing to make sure those casts don't go off. And then these traps, I think people, I don't know if one went off before, but it's really hard to see red under all of this. And that's what color the traps are. Should mention as well, there's a Venthia Lantern here. We've actually activated this Venthia Lantern here as well. There's a red circle that spans out from this Venthia Lantern. If you can kill mobs while standing in the Venthia Lantern, you will get a damage boost. I think it's called Sinful Boon. We didn't manage to do very well out of this. I think we got credit for 1 while the ads were up, and you can see we ended up going out of the radius of the thing here. So this kill ads as while the lantern's up, and we ended up so far out because of Sanguine and that we only got 1, which is a 5% buff. So that's a little disappointing. So just be aware, if you've got a Venthia in your group, try and make the most of that. Here's this next pull that I was talking about, double Huntsman, Mist Dancer. Remember, Mist Dancer's the most important mob in here because of that Echoing Thrust. So I am moving the Mist Dancer off here, and I'm going to face my Echoing Thrust into this wall, okay? So first Echoing Thrust is coming. You can see its red telegraphed line shooting out here, and I'm just moved off to the side. So it's gone down, and I've moved back to where I was. Now I just stood in a trap, which is awesome. See this? You can see I move off to the side for this red line, which is the Echoing Thrust, but there's a red trap under me as well that I have not seen until I'm watching on this video. I trigger this trap. So the trap hits me for, I don't know, 40% of my life maybe. There's that Echoing Thrust red swirl, so I'm moving back in. So I want to get back over here for my next Echoing Thrust because I'm trying to layer them. There's 3 on top of each other now. So all this is going really well until this trap that's just been laid here. Now, a good person that's aware of what's going on would move to the right. Not this guy. Boom. Into a trap. I'm dead. So really unlucky. Not really unlucky. Really stupid. Pay attention. So that's really unfortunate. Now I have to get my group to kite down the hallway. What happens as a result is Echoing Thrusts are going absolutely everywhere, okay? So you really need to watch out for this. So you can see here, because they've had to run, there's an Echoing Thrust going that way, that way, that way. There'd be more up here from where I was originally. Things get really messy. So really pay attention to those traps as the tank because they will deck you. Try and put your Echoing Thrusts into the wall so you are not decking your group. And for God's sakes, whatever you do, don't run into the traps because they will absolutely murder you. So we managed to recover here. super messy. But you know, this was still a stage of figuring things out, and by God, did we have to figure it out. So killing that Mist Dancer, and then we're on to this Brute and this one tick here. So we're going to grab these two. Remember, the Brute will do a slam. It'll also do the leap. You want to kick the Engorge on the tick, so you can see that Engorge getting off, and it got 1 stack, which means it's got 1 stack for its explosion on death. Now, remember how I said the more stacks they have, the bigger their boom when you kill them. You don't want big booms when you kill them. So we're going to kill those. I'm just going to skip through this because they don't do really anything that exciting. Killing those. We're going to move inside and we're going to hug this wall. And we're just going to move up the inside here. Now, I think we end up getting lots of extra things pulled in this as well. I think our mage friend pulls some stuff from behind in a second or something. And that causes like that kills our MDT. And then we get a surprise brute somewhere as well. So we get 2 extra mobs from that room that are coming through now. That somehow got pulled. I think the poor mage pulled them, which is, you know, that's just what happens in pickup groups sometimes. So that's okay. So we're dealing with that. Ticks, getting the engorges, whatever we can, watching the explosions from them when they blow up, not to try and blow them all up as one, especially if they've got, you know, 8 stacks of this for the explosion here. It's going to deal a fair bit of damage. See it chunk Chewy for nearly half his health there. This little dirt cruncher was pulled from that room as well, so we're just finishing him up. He doesn't do anything to worry about. So then we're on to this brute pack with the ticks now. Because of those extra mobs, that causes our prideful to proc a little bit early. I think prideful, if you didn't get those extras, would proc when you kill everything in this, but just focus down the brute anyway. Make sure you're cleaving off the brute always. That's the main thing. Kicking whatever engorges you can, watching the slam, watching the leap on the brute. We're going to kill those, and then we're going to get our first prideful here for our 20% to go straight into the first boss. So you guys know how prideful works, so we're just going to skip through prideful. We're going to kill prideful. Our mage is dead, so we're going to get a res off there. And then we're going to go into the first boss. Now, remember, first boss, what I said, everything is about a managing severing smash, okay? So what we're going to do is there's a couple of ways that you can do this, depending on DPS. DPS is obviously a lot higher now than it was when we were doing this. What you can do is you can have your tank around here and have all your DPS and healer behind, okay? Not like flat up against the wall, but just behind. What you can do is the Severing Smash can go off, your tank can collect their orb, the healer and DPS can all drop their orbs behind the boss near this wall, and then you can just bring the boss from here and you can kite him all the way down to this end and no one can soak orbs and you can kill the boss. The condition on that is that you have to kill the boss before he reaches 100% energy and does a second Severing Smash. If you don't have the DPS to do that, you can leave your DPS and healers up here, same way. Tank's here. He grabs the first absorption, so you take damage from that. You then, as the orbs are floating towards the boss as you're kiting them, you just stagger your orb collection out, so you stagger that damage out for your healer to deal with. Another way you can do it is if every single person in your group has an immunity, you can immune or stack CDs like a slink and immunities and whatever else, and you can just stack those orbs and you can collect them all at once while everyone is in that to get rid of them. There are multiple ways that you can deal with Severing Smash, but they're just a couple. So what we're going to do, the mage wasn't in Discord, so his orb is in an odd spot, but Sinners, Ice, and Chewy are all going to be up the top here, and they're going to drop their orbs there, and we're just going to move down to one end, and then the plan is just to move to the other end. Actually, I think the plan was to kill it. So there's Hungering Drain, so we make sure we kick that first. You saw the Headbutt, so Headbutt coming out here. Nope, Juggernaut Rush coming out here, so we're just getting in position. Everyone's getting in between that Juggernaut Rush to reduce the damage. Severing Smashes coming out in 7 seconds, so you can see I'm in this position here and I'm going to soak my orb. The guys are up the back here and I'm just going to kite down once it goes off after I've collected my orb. The mage, if he was in Discord, we would have said like be up there. That vicious headbutts that knockback, so never be having your back to the edge, you will go flying. Here comes Severing Smash, so it drops. There's that orb I was talking about. I'm going to collect mine and then we're just going to leg it down now. If you weren't going to kill him in before he reached 100% energy for another smash, you would just start collecting your orbs now. So I'm going to collect the mage's orb because it was coming towards the boss. Remember, if the orbs hit the boss, he heals for 12%. You never want an orb to get to the boss. Here comes the Juggernaut Rush. So he's ice blocked that. So again, if this was a high key, and you were like, you didn't want anyone to soak as a mage, you would just be like, I'm going to immune this. You would run off to the edge here. Nobody would get in that soak, because on a high Tyrant key, if I was the only one soaking, I probably would have died there. And they would ice block it, so no one had to soak, make it nice and easy. So just moving down here, we're going to get another Severing Smash. So we're going to have to probably collect some of these orbs. So you can see we stagger them out. So we collect all our orbs, and then we would be going up the other way. So we'd planned to kill it before it ever got here. So if we got down to this end, that Severing Smash was coming. Our DPS and healers would all be over this side. I would be here, collect my orbs, and I would go back up to our starting position from where we started with the boss to get through it. So it's a little bit messy, but I think this was like the first 15 in here that we'd done. So it was, you know, it was one of those learn by doing experiences. So we end up killing this just in time, but very sketchy. But that is how you do it. You would just go back and forth from the ends, and if you weren't going to be able to kill it before the next smash, you would have to stagger out or immune soak all at once your orbs. So that's the first boss done. So back to MDT, guys. First boss done. Moving into our next section here, all the way down to the second boss. So moving into this next room, we got double Wicked Oppressor and these sprites in this room. The sprites just throw shit at you. They're not too much of a worry and have low health. The oppressors, these have these Curse of Suppression. This is a real pain in the ass. This is a 5-second silence that you have to be aware of. So if you can stun, interrupt these, you want to do it. They also cast this Rack Soul, which is shadow damage up front, and then it also leaves a dot on you afterwards that deals a fair bit of shadow damage as well. So just murk these down as quick as you can. But we're going to pull those two and these sprites here. I think we get a surprise brute on this run in this room somehow, which is just, you know, early stage Mythic Plus things. So once we've done that, we're going to move into this next pool. We get these 4 Acolytes and this Oppressor here. Again, watch out for that Curse of Suppression. The silence with casters, a real pain in the ass. The Acolytes will just fire these Dark Bolts, just interrupt what you can. Then we move into this Chamber Sentinel here. Now, the Chamber Sentinel has a couple of things. He has a Stone Skin that you want to kick ASAP, because otherwise it'll just make the mob take forever to kill. Tanks, face it away from your group at all times. It'll have a Severing Slice. This is a big physical upfront hit, and it also leaves a dot on you, which is a giant pain in the ass. You can outrange it as a monk. You can roll backwards. You can jump out as a Vengeance Demon Hunter. You can use your Magic Horse as a Paladin. You can Heroic Leap as a Warrior. As a DK, you're kind of up shit creek. You can max range melee it and get a quick death advance off and kind of like lazy left it out of there, but it's pretty iffy. You could also queue up a Door of Shadows if you were Venthia, time it pretty well off a timer to get out of it at max range, but sometimes it's just too much effort to worry about, so you just take the hit and deal with the bleed. The Craggy Fracture here will be swirls on the ground, just don't stand in them. Once we've dealt with that Sentinel, we're moving up to this pack of 3 here. So we've got an Overseer and 2 Oppressors. So we've already talked about the Oppressor, the Overseers. If you ever come across an Overseer in the pack, this is your 100% #1 priority. Murk that guy target, okay? He will do Dread Binding, sends out chains, reduces movement speed, deals damage to everybody. To break your chain, you need to run away from him, but you've got a movement speed reduction on you. It's a pain in the ass, no bueno. The biggest issue though is this overbearing presence. So it is a damage and healing reduction that goes out group wide and continues to stack up quite quickly. So you need to watch out for this. You need to kill this guy ASAP. We'll also be firing off Gloom Burst, which are shadow bolts that you want to kick as well. With the overbearing presence as a DK, you can use AMS to actually reset your stacks on this. You can also use AMS to avoid the Dread Binding actually going on you as well, to immune that cast altogether. So just be aware of that. Once we've killed that, we're going to kill this next pack of 3, which actually run across the bridge. Watch this padding Sentinel. We don't want him, but he pats all the way down to here. So just watch him grab this pack and pull it back. Now, our percent gets all mucked up from the extra brute and things like that, but I'm going to talk to you about this route as if we didn't get any surprise brutes in this room. There's a lantern here, okay? Once this Sentinel is walking back this way, once we've killed this pack here, we would activate this lantern, pull this inside pack here to the lantern, murder this pack on the lantern, then we would get Prideful from this. Once we kill it, we would then, we'd have the lantern buff, We get Prideful from this, we'd kill the Prideful, and then we go across the bridge into this pack, which is another double Oppressor and an Overseer. So Overseer, again, is the absolute target. I just fudged that up. Overseer is the absolute priority target, as I said, and we'd be using Prideful to kill it. I think on this recording, because of the Brute, we don't end up doing this in the Lantern pack. We get Prideful off this and we go straight into this, but the theory is still sound. So then we're going into this room here. Now, on the other route I'm going to show you, we actually invis-pot this section here, because truth be told, these packs aren't very fun, and this pack in this room with the Custodian is a giant waste of time. It's a long pack for not much gain. The Custodian has this Bludgeoning Bash. It's a really heavy hitting physical damage ability with a knockback. You can outrange it though, just be aware of that. He also fires off tornadoes at you as well, so just be aware of that and watch out for that. Then we're coming into the inner ring here where we get some new mobs again. So we get these Scribes and a Warden here. The Warden hits really hard. This Crushing Strike really hurts, so just be aware of that as the tank with your active mitigation. The Scribes will throw research at you and these explosive Vellums. You can't interrupt them, but you can stun them. Then we're going to move, as we run in here, we're going to move left, or, you know, right looking at your MDT. But when you're playing this, you're going to move in and you're going to go left. And there's a lot of 3 pulls here. So we're going to get this Quill Feather, the Scribe, and the Fury. These don't do a lot. Pulling them in 3s, you shouldn't have any issues, and there's not really anything to highlight in talking about these. So we're going to do this 3 here. We're going to avoid this Doubt in the wall. We're going to grab this pack of 3 here, the Fury, the Doubt, and the Scribe. The Doubt's worth talking about because when you kill them, they will leave a giant pool of shit on the floor that you need to move out from, so just be aware of that. We're going to proc on this route, our 60% Prideful from this pack here. In my other route that I'll share with you, you'll actually be proccing your Prideful here to go into this second boss, which is absolutely worth doing on high Tyrant keys. However, this will be fine if you're just searching for KSM in pugs and things like that, regardless of Fort Tyrant. So we're going to do this 3 here, which is the which we're going to get Prideful off. We're then going to do this Sentinel if it's active. We're going to grab this next pack of 3 here. And then we're going to do this last pack of 3, the Fury, Warden, and the Scribe. We're not going to pull these. These are in a cage fairly well into the wall. You can just run past them, and even when you're doing the boss, you'd really struggle to pull these. So we don't pull them. And then we're doing the second boss, Executor Tarvod. Now, he doesn't have everything listed here, but Castigate is a red beam that will go onto a marked player, and they'll have an 8-yard radius circle around them. They need to go and stand on their own, otherwise they deal a bunch of damage to everybody. The biggest thing with Tarvod is when he starts, he has 2 adds on each side of him. They turn into red anima balls. One goes anti-clockwise on the inside, one goes clockwise on the outside, and they can change which one goes clockwise, which one goes anti-clockwise. What you have to do is you have to bring the boss kind of away from its middle point, and one of the balls will be going around the inside, one of them will be going around the outside, and they're both going different ways, as I said. You have to dodge them. There'll be a gap where you can stand on the outside while the inside passes, and then you can move to the inside while the outside passes. If you get hit by a ball, you get a dot on you and a slow, which is bad news for your healer. An ad will also spawn out of Tarvod. It looks like the Fury ads here, which you need to switch to and absolutely murder down ASAP. When it dies, it will leave a large void zone on the ground that you need to move out of, but while it's up, it deals massive pulsing AoE damage. You can stun it. Just make sure you switch to it ASAP, stun it, murder it. You can drop AMZ as a DK while your group's dealing with that, or you can drop AMZ on the person that's got Castigate if you need to make life easier in that regard as well. So that's pretty much it. Let's go to the VOD. Let's watch it. So, first boss has just died. Here comes my double oppressors here, or as Teagues would say, oppressors. We're going to grab the sprites from that room and then wait for it. Just wait for it, guys, because somebody else has plugged in their PS2 controller and another player has entered. Where is he? There he is. There he is. Look at him. Look at this dude. Where did you come from? Where did you come from, you cheeky devil? So yeah, we got a brute, okay? Yeah, we got a brute that's not even a thing. So that's an extra 2% onto our route that, you know, coupled with the stuff we got extra pulled in the first room, didn't bode too well for the sticking to of our MDT plan, but that's just sometimes the way it goes. So finish up your imaginary brute, and then we're moving into this next pack, the 4 acolytes and the oppressor. Remember, the oppressor is generally the one that you're going to be cleaving off. The silence is a real pain in the ass from that. The acolyte's just going to do dark bolts, and they die really quick. Watch the rack souls and the oppressor. You shouldn't have too many issues in dealing with that. We're getting through that. We're coming out of the door, and we're going into this first sentinel. So remember, with the sentinel, kick the stone form, face it away from your group, because it's going to have that severing slice, which you can get out of the way pending tank class. You can parry or dodge the severing slice as well, which I did there, which I got no bleed. There's the craggy fracture. Don't stand in the swirls. Interrupt the stone form. Bob's your uncle. So killing that one, and then we're going to move up the hallway. So now we're going into our double oppressor and overseer packs. Remember, overseer is the absolute murder target, okay? Here is that debuff, that overbearing presence I was talking about that is stacking up. You can use your AMS to reset your stacks on this, remember, as well. Chain links are going to come out as well. You can use AMS to avoid the chain link as well. You'll be casting gloom bursts as well, so you want to interrupt those. You want to interrupt that curse as well, especially if you've got casters in your group. Here's dread binding. So good tank. Actually, I didn't know it at the time, so I'm going to give myself a break, okay? But if I was in Sanguine Depths now, and I saw this happening, and I saw this button available, I'd press this button to avoid this chain going on me, okay? Boom, I pressed it, but I didn't press it because I didn't know what I was doing. So now I have to run to Narnia into the wardrobe to break my chain, and then go all the way back to Aslan and tell him that I was sorry. So just be aware of that. Learn from my nump. Okay, so we're going to finish them up, and then we're going to move up to the next pack. So there's our padding sentinel that I told you guys to watch out about. There's that lantern in the corner that I was talking about too. So on the original MDT, where we didn't get things screwed up, right? We're going to kill this pack. We're going to wait for that sentinel. He was going to pad away, activate that lantern, pull that room, kill it on there. Prideful over here to kill. Because we've got extra percent, we get prideful off this pack here. So we're just going to go straight across the bridge. So you guys know how these packs work. The overseer is the absolute target there, and then you finish your oppressors up after the overseer. We get our prideful here. You guys know how prideful works, so we're going to kill prideful. Pew 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 pew. And because we got prideful, we're just going to run straight across the bridge and go into this next pack, which is again another double oppressor overseer pack. So we got prideful for it, so it's not as bad. They're quite nasty packs just because of this healing reduction and damage reduction debuff. The longer it's alive, the worse these packs get. So we're going to get them down, not too bad with prideful, moving out for the chains, all that kind of fun stuff. Then we're going into this middle room. Now this middle room with the custodian, remember, you would be in Viz potting in the other route, that pack we just fought, and this pack here, because it's just a long waste of time. Now watch for this bludgeon that's going to come up, and how hard it hits me. There's the sweeping slash with the tornadoes that you have to dodge. Here it comes, bludgeoning bash. I'm at, so I was 100, I think that hit me for 96% of my health maybe. What am I? I'm at 100% right now, right? Boom. It hit me for 96% of my health, okay? So that's not great. That's big, okay? So have your active mitigation going. If you can outrange that bludgeon too. I don't know if it works like a fervent strike, though. I don't know if you'll kill someone with it. I don't feel like I have. But I can't honestly tell you off the top of my head, and it's been a while since I've gone to Sang Depths because I just don't like the dungeon. So we're going to finish this guy up. I'm going to cop another bludgeon in a second, which nearly kills me, and then we're going into the inner circle. So scribes and wardens now. So remember, the scribes, you can't interrupt them, but you can stun them, so make sure you're doing that. The warden, however, hits really hard. So remember, I was talking about the warden hitting hard with that physical ability. I'm going to show you what that one looks like here. Here comes Crushing Strike. Crushing Strike hits me for about 75% of my health pool. And keep in mind, this was 2 months ago, so gear was kind of low, but hits hard. So we're going to finish these 3-pack up. Remember, there's lots of trash packs with 3 mobs going around here. So you don't need to overpull either. I think it's really important in the inner ring. You are much better off playing safe around this inner ring than you are going for something stupid and out of this world. He'll also do that barb shackle as well, which will actually root people in place and take damage. You can see these barb shackles around Ice here, who's stuck. they deal quite a bit of damage for them to wear off as well. So make sure you're kicking the barb shackles. I should have mentioned that in the MDT as well, sorry. Next, we're going to pull this 3 here. So there's that Fury in the wall here. He's going to come out. So we're going to do these. Again, taking these nice and slow, interrupt whatever's available to kick. Stuns, you shouldn't have too many issues. We're going to do this next pack of 3. Remember, the doubt drops a giant pool of crap on the ground that you need to move out of. So I'm just going to show you when the doubt dies, how big that area is. So the doubt's about to die. Sanguine's going to make it quite hard to see as well. Doubt's about to die, and you can see Sanguine going out, but you can see, if we get a better view, see this red stuff here, this red shade up the top? They're what the doubts drop. Okay, so that's the kind of radius that you need to move out of. It's fairly big, so just be aware of that when you're positioning things to die and when you're moving into your next packs. So we get Prideful here, which is a little bit early. Would have liked it one further pack in, but because of extra stuff, this is where we're getting it. So again, you guys know how Prideful works. We're going to move up to this next pack. That last Sentinel back there wasn't active, but this next one is. With Prideful, you would be... I should have pulled this Sentinel here into this pack here. It's a bit of a waste fighting a 3 on its own via Prideful, especially when they don't do that much and they die fairly quick. So I should have pulled the Sentinel into this one. I think we get it towards the end. We do, but should have got it really early on and made a little bit more value out of Prideful here. Facing this away from my group so no one gets hit with that Severing Slice except for me. So we're going to kill them, interrupt the Stone Form, watch the Craggy Fractures. Killed that. We're moving into this 3. There's that... Go back a little bit. There's that ghoul pack in the wall I was talking about. You don't need to pull them. Okay, so we're just going to pull these 3 and then we're on to the boss. So pulling these 3, killing them. They're dead. All right, they're dead, and then we're on to the second boss. So we're just going to run all the way up the inside here on the wall, and we're going to kill the second boss. Now, second boss, guys, as I mentioned, is all about positioning. What you can do on the second boss too is if you come up to where I am right now, you can see these 2 ads, right? They're the anima orbs. Once you pull him, they turn into orbs and they go off. If you're standing over here, the orbs will fly out like in this direction. You've got a good chance of getting hit. If you're standing in front of the boss here, there's like this safety zone, which is about this big, that you can just stand here and not get hit by any of the orbs. So the orbs go out, this nice little safe spot here. And then we're just going to move away from this red crap on the ground. Castigate going out, that's that red beam. There'll be an 8-yard red circle around that person that they have to stand away from that pulses out damage. So just be aware of that. We're looking now. I get hit by an orb here because I'm terrible. You need to be watching out for where the inside orb is, where the outside orb is at all times, and then moving to the right spot accordingly. I get hit, okay? It's not pretty. Now, adds up, okay? This manifestation here is our ASAP switch to target. You can stun it. It deals pulsing damage. Maybe you could put AMZ down if you wanted to kill it in it, but just switch to it ASAP and kill it. Kill it damn fast. Because it deals a lot of damage to your group. The longer it's up, the worse things are. Once that dies, it leaves a giant red puddle on the ground. You then need to reposition the boss afterwards. Now, you need to be keeping an eye on where these orbs are. Now, you can see I just got hit, so I have a dot on me by this sin-touched anima. I have a dot and a slow on me. Now, it can be removed, so it's okay, but it shouldn't have happened in the first place. So just be really aware of that. Castigate going out again. Make sure people have got enough room to move. Now I start paying attention to what's going on. So I am looking for where the orbs are. So outside orbs coming first. So I'm going to move to the inside. Outside goes past. I'm going to move to the outside and inside goes past. Manifestation's up. I'm going to move manifestation back behind where we're going. Kill that there. And then I'm going to move back with the boss. He's going to drop that giant void zone, but I'm moving back out of the way of it so I don't have to worry about it. Looking around for where the orbs are coming. Outside's coming. So I'm sticking to the inside. Outside goes past, moving to the outside so inside can go past. Nice and clean, no worries. On Fort, fairly easy. A little bit of a different story on Tyrant, and this guy can be really, really difficult on higher keys. So, but it's all about dodging those orbs and making life as easy as you can on your healer. Switching to that ad ASAP when it's up and murdering it. Now, none of us know where to go because we're a bit lost. Now we're going to drop down the hole and we're going to go to the third boss. So, back to MDT here. So we've just killed the second boss. We're dropping down the hole. and we're going to go into the Amphitheater of Sorrow. Now we're going to do a double pull here with the Oppressor and the Doubt, and then we're going to triple pull, or we're going to do a pull with 3 mobs in it. I don't know why I'm saying triple pull, which has got 3 Oppressors in it. So again, just make sure you're getting a kicks. And then we're going on to the third boss, Grand Proctor Borrelia. Now, this boss is actually a little bit scary, okay? The biggest thing around this boss is Iron Spikes. Iron Spikes hits like an absolute Mack truck. Best format that you can do on a DK to cope with this, if you're a blood DK, is that you will rune tap. This is a perfect example of a good time to use rune tap, okay? So Iron Spikes is a 2-second lock for the boss, so with 4 strikes in it. What you can do is you can rune tap just before the first strike goes off, and you want to have banked up enough runic power for 2 death strikes. So you want to have like 90 runic power banked away, okay? Then what you want to do is you want to rune tap. You want to take the first 2 hits of Iron Spikes, death strike after 2. Next 2 hits, death strike once the 4th on the sequence is completed, and that's your best way to manage Iron Spikes. Another thing you'll have to deal with on this boss is Rite of Supremacy. So there'll be these little orbs that go around, and they're 20% damage reduction per orb that you collect. As a tank, you probably realistically only need 1 or 2. You can use AMS because it's shadow damage. You can throw AMZ down for your group to stand in as well to avoid some of that damage. Your group will be trying to get 4 orbs or something like that. You as the tank, generally 1 or 2 is enough to suffice. Endless Torment, there's going to be these circles, these light circles on the ground. If you stand in them, you'll die. So just make sure that you don't stand in those. And that's pretty much it. Your job as the tank, though, is all about managing how you do Iron Spike. So active mitigations and CDs is an absolute must. So let's go back to the VOD and let's do this. So we are dropping down. We're going to run down. We're going to do this pull here, there's 2 mobs, the Oppressor and the Doubt here. Remember, the Doubt's going to drop its big giant crappy zone. We're going to move out of that, and then we're going to grab this Oppressor and the other 2 Oppressors. We're going to fight them. We're going to get the kicks, the Curse of Suppression, which is the silence, is really annoying. The Rack Soul, just get whatever you can. Bit annoying pulling 3 of them. If you've got a beam, it's really good value if you can murder them down really quickly. And then we're on to the boss. So I think I do one of these right. Again, you know, what I know now is not what I knew when I was doing this key in regards to managing Iron Spike. So it's a little bit, you know, gibbed, but that's okay. So Iron Spikes is going to come out pretty quickly here. So here it comes now. So I've used Dancing Rune Weapon here, and I've Death Striked my way to victories. But you can see it hits pretty hard. Here comes Rite of Supremacy. So I'm just going to grab 1 orb. 1 orb's worth 20% damage reduction. And again, you can drop AMZ to help your group out here. You can use AMS for yourself if you've got it. Burst does a fair bit of damage. Endless Torment coming out. These are the circles, the swirlies on the ground. Don't stand in those swirlies. You stand in those swirlies, you die. So just make sure you're moving. That's pretty much it. That's the 3 mechanics you have to deal with for this boss. Iron Spikes coming out. So I Icebound Fortitude this one. The rune tap way is the best way to do it, but like if you want to cycle your cooldowns and things like that, or if you're a different tank, cycle your active mitigation, it's obviously what you're going to have to do to survive through that, because it just hits really hard, especially on high Tyrant settings. Rite of Supremacy again coming out here. That's it for this boss, okay? But you can see how hard the damage is dealing. This is a fortified boss as well, so on a high Tyrant key, this can get fairly yikes. Watching the circles again, making sure you're not getting hit. Safety is the most important factor. I think I do this one okay. Iron Spikes coming out. Rune tap. Okay, it was a little bit late. Death Strike. Death Strike. So that one was actually okay. It was a little late on the rune tap, but that's how I would go about managing it properly. But I cycled like Dancing Rune Weapon, Icebound Fortitude, and then went into the rune tap way doing this for the first time. But that's it, guys. Shouldn't have too many issues. Use 5 Iron Spikes, you can kill this boss. So once that's dead, we're going back to the MDT. So there is a shield located right here. When you pick up that shield, you get an extra action button. When you press that extra action button, you get a shield, a little like barrier that is a 60% damage reduction barrier. It's huge, and you can use it from here all the way to here. You do need it when you're fighting General Carl in the Gauntlet, and General Carl goes to class Gloom Squall. Aside from that though, you have free range for how you want to use this. So with this first ball here, you've got 2 Gargans, 2 Hunt Masters, and 2 Oppressors in it. This area is fairly tight in here. So what I like to do is taunt one of these Gargans or throw a ranged ability at it, line of sight it here, and fight them out on this platform. You got 2 Hunt Masters that drop traps in here. Gets pretty tight with traps, just makes life easier. You can do as you please. We're going to get our 80% Prideful from this pack here, and then we're going to use that Prideful to kill this pack here. If you're not confident in fighting this 3, which is a Sentinel, Mist Dancer, remember Mist Dancer's Echoing Thrust, and a Overseer, which has got the Overbearing Presence. If you don't want to fight this, you can actually taunt this Grand Overseer by itself. If you come and stand down here, taunt the Overseer, it will not link with these 2. You could then kill the Overseer by itself and then fight these 2. We have Prideful on this route, so we're going to use that to murder them. And this is also a great place to use your shield. Then we have this Gauntlet running up here with General Carl. There'll be 2 Gargons that continually spawn and run down this Gauntlet, proving it to be a pain in the ass. And General Carl will be in every second pack as you go along here. General Carl will cast Gloom Squall. You need to have the shield available, aka not be on cooldown for when Gloom Squall is going off, otherwise you'll murk your group, so just be aware of that. Pace yourself going up this Gauntlet. Once you finish the pack, the Gargans will continue spawning, but don't feel like you have to race into each next one. Yeah, just play it smartly as you go up here. It'll finish once you hit this last pack here, which is the Double Skirmisher and Sentinel. So Sentinel, same thing. The Skirmishers aren't anything new. Then we will proc our 100% Prideful going in here with the Gargans and the Hunt Masters here. So we're killing these in here. We're procking 100% Prideful and we're going on to General Carl. Now she is an interesting one. She has this Wicked Rush where she'll mark multiple people and she will charge off to them and it deals damage to anyone within 5 yards of them. She will also do this Piercing Blur, which is there's like 3 statues on the side of the encounter space. Well, they look like statues, but it's like visions of her blur where she will dash across the platform. You just have to make sure you're in a safe space. And Gloom Squall, which you as the tank, when she gets to 100 energy, she'll cast Gloom Squall. You as the tank just need to make sure that you get near the boss. Everyone's near you. You press the shield. Everyone stands in the shield. They don't get blown off the platform and they don't die. So that's it. Let's have a look. So here's the shield up here. So we're going to go and click on the Shield of Dal. I know my lore. That's what it is. Shut up. And then I'm going to taunt this Huntmaster. Actually, use the death curse on it. And I'm just going to pull them outside. Remember how I was talking about just easier spacing with traps and things like that? That's just what I think. So we are going, again, you can see there's a trap here. I'm going to put the shield down, which is a 60% DR. And you can see absolutely nothing happens now. 30-second cooldown when you get trapped. So when you use the shield. So we're going to get Prideful afterwards, which means that the shield will be up. So you can use the shield on this, pending your group's damage and things like that. You can use the shield to make this pack easier, kill your Prideful, and then use your shield with Prideful on the next pack of 3 if you're really worried about them. So here's our Prideful, and you can see my shield's pretty much already up. So we're going to kill Prideful, pew pew pew, and then I'm going to take this next buff, so I'm going to take the shield and the Prideful into this pack of 3. Now, I've positioned myself up against this wall, reason being, the Mist Dancer that I currently don't have threat on, I'm going to put Echoing Thrust in here. I'm also going to put that Severing Slice into the wall as well so it doesn't hit anyone. So my Echoing Thrust first one, due to losing aggro, is now out here. That's okay. We all make mistakes in life. And I'm just going to set up with my shield. Now, when the shield is up, you have 60% DR. You kind of have permission in some ways to just go ahead and standing everything, but don't take it too liberally. Again, here you want to get that Overseer down ASAP because of the damage and healing reduction that's out while it's up. And you can see my Echoing Thrusts were fairly messy there. That were not very good. Try and make your Echoing Thrust as neat as possible as you can from my group. It got a little bit scuffed when I lost aggro at the start, which was unfortunate. And we're just going to finish up the Sentinel last. So I would be killing the Overseer first, then the Regal Mist Dancer, and then finishing up the Sentinel. Because the Sentinel, as long as you kick the Stone Skin, you can generally live through the Slice now, and the Fraggy is not too hard of a thing to stand out of. So first pack here's got Carl in it. You can see these 2 Gargans. They will continue to spawn throughout the Gauntlet phase. Carl is going to do that Gloom Squall, so I'm making sure I've got my shield at the ready here. It's off cooldown, it's ready to be pressed, waiting for Carl to get to 100% energy. When Carl hits 100 energy, the Gloom Squall will trigger. The other thing is when Carl hits 90%, it's each 10% checkpoint. Carl will go to it's every second pack in the gauntlet. So just be aware of that. If you can DPS Carl down quick enough, you may not have to deal with Gloom Squalls if you get to 90% before 100% energy. Here's the shield going. Everybody's in it to the Gloom Squall, so no one dies. No issues whatsoever. So we kill that. We want to get General Carl to 90%, so she'll piss off to the next pack that we'll face her in. So nearly there, nearly there, nearly there, nearly there. And there we go. So now General Carl nicks off to the third pack basically, and then we're into the second pack. Got our 2 Gargons that have been running down, and then we're into these packs of cadets. These do absolutely nothing for you to really worry about, guys. So just take your time. Your healer managing their mana up here is pretty intense because they're always in combat from these Gargons. Necrotic is really toxic as well. Bindings, whatever slows you've got is absolutely a must. So then we're into General Carl, as I said, every second pack. We got another set of Gargons joining us in this one that we're running down as well. So yeah, just be aware of that. Just be aware of that. But you always want to be focusing Carl. You want to push Carl's 10% as quick as you can each time. Carl will be doing dread volleys and things like that. There's not a whole... I mean, there's a lot of tank damage going on here, but in terms of the group, it's really not too bad. So again, we're just focusing, trying to get Carl down as quick as we possibly can. I can't use a shield here either, even though I'm taking a battering because I need it for Gloom Squall. Here comes Gloom Squall, clicking my shield here. It's up. Everybody's in. No one's going to die. We're all cool. Got to watch out for the Gweenie here that's just healed Carl like 7%. That's pretty cool. That's, you know, sometimes I just like making things harder for myself. Get to 80%, Carl nicks off. Now, we've got this next bit up here. So there's another lantern up this gauntlet here. We activate this gauntlet here. You can pull this pack back to this gauntlet and you can get that sinful bonus here. So we're going to pull them around. You can see the aura here where we've gotten the time we've got to kill the ad. So you got a fair bit of time. You just need to make sure that you murder them in this little red aura'd radius here. I think this has recently got buffed too, so that's definitely worth noting. So you can see we get 5 stacks here where we've killed these 8 stacks. So we've got a 40% damage buff increase right now. So we want to go and get up to this pack where Carl is here. Because it's got our, you know, while we've got a 40% damage increase, it's our best chance to push her through that that last 10% as quick as we can to progress through the gauntlet. So acolytes in these ones, just kicking whatever we can, the dark bolts and things like that. Main thing is just as the tank, pay attention to Carl's energy level. Make sure you're dropping when Gloom Squall goes off. Make sure you're dropping your shield. And that's pretty much it. Nothing really changes. So we got 1 Gloom Squall. We didn't even get 1 Gloom Squall in that because we had the 40% damage buff. So that's it for the gauntlet because it ends once you're up here. So then we've got our Sentinel double skirmisher. So we're going to go into them. Remember, point your Sentinel away for the severing slice so no one's getting hit with that. Skirmishers aren't going to cause you any problems. There's the severing slice. Animate weapons. Remember, if you can stun them, just stun them. Otherwise, just deal with them. Don't stand in the craggy fractures. Kick the stone form. Kill them. That's pretty much it. But yeah, stun the animated weapons if you can, guys. So we're going to get to the end here. Chewy's pretty tapped on mana. There's Purgatory from me. That's the worst part about this gauntlet. And you can see the weapons. I don't think the weapons have been nerfed at this stage. I think the weapons do less damage now. But they did hurt. So Chewy's going to get some mana here. We're going to go into this room and we're going to get our 100% prideful. And we're going to go into the last boss. So this room, just watch out for the traps again. You can see the traps are really hard to see sometimes, especially with everything going on. If they drop on red carpet with swarming mists and D&D down, it can be really, really hard to see. So just be aware of that. Gonna get our last prideful here, kill our last prideful, and then we are going out onto General Carl. Okay, so General Carl starts at 70% and ends at 50%. So you only got to take 20% off General Carl. So here comes the Wicked Rush. So 2 people marked here, the Mage and Chewy. She will blink off to them and deal damage to anyone near them. So you just want to spread when that goes off. Piercing Blur. So they're not statues, but here they are on the side. So it looks like they're statues when they're here, but they're like images. Now, this one's going off first, okay? So you don't want to be standing here. You want to stand like in the middle. So this one's going off first. When this goes off, I'm just going to move myself to this position so I can't get hit by those 2. That's pretty much it. So, I mean, you can move wherever you want. Just don't stand in the one that's going off. That's pretty easy to manage. Again, when you get the red arrow above your head, you just want to make sure people spread out and you're not standing next to them. Gloom Squall's coming in 3 seconds because it's nearly at full energy. I'm going to press my shield when that goes off. Moving over here, pressing the shield. Everyone's standing in here so they don't get knocked off the edge. easy peasy, we're all good. Spreading out for this piercing blur because the shield's not up anymore. Watching out for this blur, middle one's gone off, so it's safe. Nice and easy peasy. 3% and it's all over, guys. So that is pretty much it. That is General Carl. Hits hard, like 20% kind of each attack there. I'm losing, so it does hit. She does hit quite hard. So just be aware of that. Make sure you got your mitigation rolling. You're not taking sort of that too lightly. And that's it. You shouldn't have any problems. But that is a really, really simple A to B pug-friendly pathway that you can take in Sang Depths. Now, just really want to quickly run you over a different one that I would recommend using for if it was a Tyran kind of deal. Okay, so very, very similar in its setup. Okay, double pull at the start here. This pull like normal. Then you're going to pull the Brute, but you're also going to grab these 2 ticks in here. You're going to walk up and hug the edge here. Pull this. Same as usual. Pull this, same as usual. Pride, first boss. Gonna kill these 2, not gonna get the sprites. Double pull this if you're comfortable. Otherwise, just pull this and then the Sentinel. Then you're gonna kill these mobs. Watch this pat. Kill these mobs when they run around. Activate the Lantern. Kill these mobs here. You're gonna get your 40% prideful from these. So you've got your Lantern. Kill these. Kill your prideful. And then you are gonna invis pot from here. You're going to skip this pack and this pack with the custodian in it, and you're going to come into the inner circle. Then you're going to kill this pack, moving around here, this pack, this pack, this pack. You're going to pull these ones that we didn't bother pulling. And what you're going to do, oops, wrong one. You're going to get your 60% prideful from these 3 here that are in the wall. So then you can take your 60% prideful and you can take it straight onto the hardest boss that's going to be in this dungeon on a tyrannical setting, which is Tarvoid. So that alone is a huge bonus from this route. Before you jump down, you're going to go and kill these 2. You're then going to kill this pack here, and you're going to grab this pack here that move sort of up and down. Don't pull this Sentinel, but you're going to grab these 3 here. Then you're going to drop down and you're going to do these 2. You pack a 3 here, the third boss, and then you're just going to do it like normal. And you'll end up getting your 100% prideful in this last room as well to finish up on Carl. So this route is also in the MDT. It requires a little bit more coordination just due to this skip here alone, but it is so worth it. And it's so much better to line your prideful up here to go into this boss here. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for checking out the video. As always, I appreciate it hugely. If you've got any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much. Come say what are words? Hold on. So come find me in the Discord. Come say hi on Twitch. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you all next time. See you, fam.